How much thought have you put into your Etsy shop branding? Today, I want to talk about why it's important and give you some fantastic branding tips to help you out. Let's go. Hey everyone, what is happening? Hopefully your day is going awesome. I'm your host, LL, and welcome back to the Handmade and Beyond podcast, where I help Etsy sellers start, build, and grow their businesses, give you guys good information to help you move everything forward. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into everything branding so that you guys can make sure your shop is set up in the best way possible. But first, with Black Friday right around the corner, I want to make sure that you download my free Black Friday playbook so you can capitalize on this huge buying frenzy of a day that's about to come very, very soon. I want you to be prepared. So this playbook has everything you guys need to plan and market an amazing Black Friday sale. And what's awesome is you guys can use it for other sales as well. The information kind of transcends. Make sure you guys get that at handmadeandbeyond.com/Black Friday. Get it, read it, implement it, take action. All right, let's dive into branding. And this episode is good. Even if you already have a shop, if you've been doing this for a little bit, or especially if you're a new seller or thinking about a shop, this episode is going to be really good for you to kind of go and recalibrate or really think through these branding items so that you guys can make sure you're doing this stuff appropriately and your shop is set up for success. This is just another lever, however you want to say it, that you can pull, and it'll help your shop grow, get more traffic, of course, get more sales. So there's a lot of different variables at play with running any business, and Etsy is no different, and branding is a big part of that, especially early on when you're getting things set up. So what does branding consist of? What are the main components that I'm talking about when I'm talking about your shop branding? Well, I'm talking about your shop name, of course, your logo, your color palette, your tagline or your mission statement, and also your banner image is important as well. All of that is also dictated by your niche. So I'm going to spend some time talking about your niche as well, because that really drives all the other things. If your niche is out of whack, or you're not sure about it, or what it is even, it's going to throw all the other stuff out of whack. So you want to make sure all those things are kind of working together cohesively, and that will in return make sure that your shop is well branded and it's well represented out there in the Etsyverse, let's call it. All right, so I want to dive into each of the above things that I talked about to ensure that you're branding in the most effective way possible. The first thing I want to dive into, because I think it is the most important, is your niche. So this is basically what your target market is, who you're going to be catering to, who's going to be buying your stuff, and that all kind of plays into telling you what your niche is. So if you're not really sure what your niche is, or you don't have a niche, that's not a good answer. Go back to the drawing board. You need a niche. You need a focus. If you're trying to sell a little bit of everything, you're not going to be successful, because the algorithm doesn't know what the heck you're doing. It's not going to be able to define an audience to send your way, to send traffic your way. So you have to know what your niche is, and that will help you do all the other things, because your niche is the most important. It's kind of the backbone to everything that you're doing on Etsy, with your shop. It keeps you kind of focused, and you have to know what your niche is. Now, it is possible to have different niches within one shop. It gets a little bit tricky, but you can do it. You can definitely have a main niche and then sub niches within that. That's possible as well, but you need to know what your niche is. If your niche is dog accessories, then that's your niche. You're not going to sell furniture, because your focus is dog accessories. You're selling stuff to cater to people looking for stuff for their dogs, accessories for their dogs. So that is your market, that's your target market, and that is also your niche. So you need to know, okay, this is my niche. It's, young moms that have newborns. Maybe that's your niche, and you focus on that niche with their clothing items or stuff that's necessary for newborn children. So think through kind of what products that you're offering or want to offer. And then from there, okay, what is my niche based on my product offerings? And if you don't know and your products are kind of all over the map, then you need to narrow in your niche. And a lot of people need to niche down. A lot of people have too broad of a niche. If your niche is men or your niche is women, that's too broad. You need to narrow that down. What are you providing? That's going to be part of your target market, but you got to narrow down your niche, narrow down your offerings to cater to a specific market. And that's how you're going to find success on Etsy, because the algorithm's going to know, okay, all of these keywords, all of these products, all of these listings are related to a specific niche. I know this is the person that is going to, if I send this type of person or this market to this shop, the chances of them buying is going to be more higher than not higher. And that's the algorithm's only purpose in life, is to get and make sales for Etsy. So you have to use that to your advantage to help you get and make sales to your shop, because one way or the other, that algorithm is going to get Etsy sales. You want it to get the sales for you. That will also benefit you, and that will also benefit Etsy. And then also the last kind of part of this is, once you have your niche figured out, then that is going to help with the branding elements, because that is your focus. That is what your niche is, your subject matter is. So from there, you can help the other components, develop the other components based on what your niche is. All right, so moving on, the next important part of branding is your shop name. This trips a lot of people up, and what's a little bit tricky about your shop name is your name could be taken. So you go through this thought process, you're like all excited and happy, and then you go to open your shop and it's like, your name is taken. Someone has your name. You're like, oh crap, I don't know what to do now. Someone has my name. That was what I picked. Don't let it get you tripped up. There's a couple of different ways that you can do this. If your name is taken, you can use a similar name or an abbreviated name to still have some resemblance of your name. For instance, if I don't even know, like Sally's Soaps is taken, you could do Sally's Soaps Co. or Sally's Soaps Incorporated or something like that. The other thing that you can do is take out some vowels. So you can kind of abbreviate your name a little bit, so it's still Sally Soaps, but maybe maybe there's no A, or maybe that really doesn't make sense. So you got to do it where it makes sense. I'm just kind of spitballing right now, but in some cases you may want to take out a couple of vowels and abbreviate it, do stuff like that, so it still is your name, but it's different. So you can still get your shop open. Now your shop name can be Sally's Soaps. That's fine. So on your logo and your banner, you can have your full name. It's just your Etsy name is going to be a little bit different. Now, the one thing that you want to be cautious about with doing that is, if your name is taken, go and look and see who has that name. Is it an active shop, and are they doing, is it well established? Are they doing pretty well? Even if they're not doing well, it really doesn't matter. You probably don't want to use that name then, because you don't want to have this could cause problems for you later on if your shop explodes and you want to open your own website, your own business, and someone already has that name. It could be a little bit of a challenge. They may fight you for it later on. So don't overthink this, but that may be something that you want to consider looking at before you actually move forward with a different version of the name. So maybe then from there, maybe you have to change it to something different, Sally's Bath and Body Works, which you can't use because Bath and Body Works exists. You know what I'm saying. So you're gonna have to then tweak it a little bit different, just to make sure it's just to avoid problems later on. I'm being over cautious, over protective, but I would definitely look into that before you just kind of roll with it. But that's one way that you can get your name out there. The other thing that people kind of get tripped up with the name is in dealing with your niche. If you have multiple sub niches or even multiple niches, you want to offer different things in your shop, which you can do. You don't have to have only one niche in your shop. It's a little bit easier that way, but if you want to sell some different things, then you have to consider what your name is and maybe make your name not as narrow. You got to maybe broaden it out. If you're selling multiple different things, you want to broaden out your name so it's less specific. Sally's Soaps is not going to work really well if you sell other things. Maybe you sell hand creams or other beauty products, which kind of plays into soaps. It's not vastly different, but it is a different niche. So Sally's Soaps and you sell hand cream, maybe you want to broaden out. Maybe you want to do like Sally's beauty care or Sally's self-care, so you broaden it out a little bit. It's not as specific and it works. And it also doesn't bootstrap you if you want to offer some different items that are kind of aligned with those different niches. So think about that. Think about your vision for the future. Do you want it super narrow? Do you want to kind of loosen the reins, broaden it out a little bit so you can add other elements in your shop, other niches where it will still make sense? So that's the way to do it if you have multiple niches, just to kind of think about it like that. The next important element is going to be your logo. Again, this is something that, don't let this trip you up. A lot of people are super overzealous when it comes to their logo. Think simple, think easy to see. Think about the main box stores out there. Big box stores, the big companies out there, their logos are very simple. You know exactly what the company is, and the logos are easy to see. Target, Walmart, Apple, all these logos are very simplistic. So I would keep your logo simple, preferably, an image on a white background, and then you can put your shop name in there. Where it's clean, it's easy to see. A lot of people add crazy backgrounds where there's like flowers and hay bales and different colors, and then I look at the logo and I'm like, what the heck is this thing? It's a jumbled mess. I don't know what this logo is. You want it clean, easy to read. Think about if your logo was popped on a shirt on the left side of the shirt, where logos are, would you be able to see it, read it? Would you know what it is? If it has like all crazy backgrounds and stuff like that, it's not gonna make any sense. So don't do it for your Etsy shop. And also, if you can create logos yourself using Canva, great platform. They have a really good free program, and they also have a paid version. We get more assets. Or you can hire someone on Fiverr, fiverr.com, for $10, $20 to create a logo for you based on what you tell them. So 2 really good resources that you can use to have a logo created. The next part of this is your banner image at the top of your shop. Your banner image is very important. Again, this should be on brand. You don't have to put your logo on the banner image because it's already below in the logo section. Your banner image should be another way to feature some of your items because it's valuable real estate. It's the top of your shop page. It's the first thing that people see. So you want to feature either best-selling items, seasonal items, or new items up top there. You can feature 3-4 items with some really good sample pictures of kind of what you're selling. So it makes sense and it's on brand, and it kind of is aligned with the things that I'm talking about later on in this episode as far as these other elements. So make sure you have a banner image, of course, and I guess I should have prefaced that with logo. Make sure you're doing both of these. Don't leave this stuff blank because it will definitely hurt your shop and not look good. A lot of people make the mistake of banner image. They just throw like their shop name up there on like glitter background, and that's it. You're kind of wasting that real estate. So make sure you don't have to put your shop name up there. Some people will do like a little blurb, like free shipping over whatever. That's fine, but don't let it take up the whole banner image. Use it for featuring and have some really nice photography of your items up there. It's what I kind of prefer. The next part of your branding is going to be your color palette. So this is the color palette that's kind of standard that you use in your logo and your banner image, everywhere else that you're kind of featuring your shop and your stuff. There should be like 3 to 4 main colors that you're using that is kind of your color palette. So for me, I use black, red, and white. Those are kind of my 3 main colors. So just kind of think through it, and it'll help you just be consistent with the stuff that you're doing. And you can do on Canva, they have color palette options that kind of all play well together. So you can kind of look at the palettes and see, oh, okay, I like this palette. This is what I'm going to use for my branding. Anytime I'm doing colors and imagery and stuff like that, I'm going to stay on brand and create that consistency with the color palette. The worst thing that you could do is just have crazy different colors everywhere. Your banners different colors, your logo is different colors, and they're not cohesive. It doesn't make any sense. So just make sure that you're being cohesive and have a standard color palette. It'll just help you out. The next part of branding is your tagline or mission statement. There's actually a spot for this by your logo in your shop. And this is something that I think is good to have anyways because it represents your shop. It quickly tells people what your business is and what it does, and it just helps you stay focused, and it helps you stay on brand, on niche. So this is something that you should think about, and it should be simple. 3 to 5 words is all you need. Mine is awesome lifestyle graphic tees and tops. Very simple, but you're coming here and you're getting lifestyle tees and tops that are awesome. Maybe it's handcrafted, cruelty-free soap for Sally's Soap. So it's high level, but it's exactly what your shop is, maybe what it represents. Maybe there's some ode to quality in there. So think about that. I think it is important, and then that's kind of your motto, your mission statement for your shop. The last thing I'm going to talk about, as far as branding, the other ones are all important, but this one is important too, is your listings. So your branding should be evident in your listings, especially when it comes to the photos. So you want to make sure that you're using the same color palette, depending on, if you're having, I prefer a white background. I think that's important to have. But if you're having other elements in your photos, if you want to do like a badge or different elements, accessory items, whatever, think about your color palette, think about your brand color palette, and make sure that it is similar, it is on brand with your color palette, and they're all consistent in that way, because it just helps when customers come to your shop. If there's consistency with the photos, it just looks better, it flows better, it doesn't feel as out of place. So you want to have that flow, you want to have that consistency, so the buyers can just kind of be comfortable, kind of scroll through the listings, and everything kind of makes sense, and nothing's just like boom in their face. It's like, what is that? That's weird. That is completely different than any other listings. That's not what you want. You want that flow and consistency. So just think about that when it comes to your photos. The other thing with your listings is you want to make sure there's consistency with your messaging in your descriptions. You don't want to have different tones and different tenses. It's always good to have a template. Even if you sell different stuff, you can have a template of maybe a little bit about your company or a couple blurbs about the product. But you want to make sure that it is consistent. You don't have one description where the formatting's all different, how you're wording stuff is different, and then you have another description where you're using a bunch of emojis and it's it's super long, and then another one where it's like 2 lines. You guys need that consistency. If a buyer is shopping around, bouncing the different listings, that's really going to start to bother people if they're trying to figure out, okay, I need specific bits of information, and every description is different. I got to sort through this jumbled mess because they're not the same. Everything's in different places. It's not aligned, and it's not quote unquote on brand, which is what we're talking about. So those are the main things. When I'm talking about branding, those are the main things that you have to kind of work through. You can tweak these things. These things can be changed. You're not going to be perfect, especially early on. But as you progress and grow, your branding becomes important, especially if you move beyond Etsy. It's good to know your brand and have that consistency, have that flow with all the things that I talked about. So hopefully that helps you guys out as far as getting aligned and better on brand with your Etsy shop. Make sure, if you haven't already, like I said before, download the Etsy Black Friday playbook. It's free. It's awesome. It'll get you prepared to have a successful Black Friday at handmadeandbeyond.com/Black Friday. But other than that, guys, I'm out of here. I'll be back soon with some more great stuff for you. Have an amazing rest of your day.